Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Twin City Trio podcast here on YouTube. My name is Cale Fleming, and as always, alongside me, my two hosts, Gavin Campbell and Tyson Snyder. Tyson's going on.
Hi.
Alrighty, and Gavin.
What's up?
How you doing?
I'm good.
So I was trying to go for Stitch. Was I close?
Yeah.
Right. Maybe a little work.
So, typically, the formatting is we always start off with the NFL, but I have yet to talk about the MLB, and I've got a wild hair that I just really want to talk about it today. We're going to kick off with some MLB talk today. I told these guys what my plan is. We're going to play a little game called Agree or Disagree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down these teams from each division, each conference, National, American, and I'm going to rank them, how I'm going to go through the season. And you guys can either agree or disagree and put them where you want them. Sound fair?
Sure.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, so we're going to start off with the American League since 2-1 in here. National League, we're going National League last. Well, I'll save your division for last, Gavin.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to start off with the AL West. That consists of the Houston Astros, the Los Angeles Angels, the Oakland Athletics, the Seattle Mariners, and the Texas Rangers. All right? So I'm going to go ahead and rank them 1 through 4, 5, and you guys tell me if you agree or disagree. Number 1, I got the Houston Astros because their roster hasn't really changed. Number 2, the Oakland Athletics. Number 3, Los Angeles Angels. Number 4, the Seattle Mariners, and number 5, the Texas Rangers. Agree or disagree?
I would agree for the most part. I think it just depends on how the Athletics come out.
They lost Jed Lowry. Keep that in mind.
Right.
He's now with the Yankee.
It's just if they could come out with the same intensity that they did and surprise everybody, if they can repeat what they did, I would give them a second best. But I mean, there's always a Mike Trout factor. How good is he going to make that team? How far can he carry that team? I mean, you could potentially put the Angels at 2, but I mean, I wouldn't argue.
My thing is like last year, the Oakland Athletics got a taste of the playoffs. They got a taste of what it's like to actually win some ball games. That's that fire, that intensity with still a tough roster. Maybe it'd be better if they had Kyler Murray on it. Would put me to have them at second, but the Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani factor, because Shohei's going to be back fully, 100% after having Tommy John this offseason. That just keeps me at second for them right now, I guess, for the sheer fact that those two are just unstoppable. Agree or disagree?
I agree with that. The A's haven't really lost anybody in the offseason. Like you said, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani, but that's basically it, all they got going down there in Anaheim. So the only thing I might disagree with is I think the Mariners might beat out the Angels this year if they could not fall off, because they were in first or second in that division for a lot of the year last year, and then they just dropped. They were one of the best teams in the league until they just crapped out. So you could possibly move them up to third if they can keep that winning nature in there instead of losing it halfway through the year. But other than that, sounds pretty accurate.
Well, we kept saying the Mariners needed to address their pitching issues.
King Felix is just not.
They never did.
They're relying on King Felix to be their ace, and it just can't happen. And he proved that last year. So, we got to agree for the most part. I'm not too off on that, I guess, with you two. Let's move on to the AL Central, since we got a lot of divisions we got to cover. Number 1, the Chicago White Sox. Number 2, the Cleveland Indians. Number 3, the Kansas City Royals. Number 4, the Minnesota Twins. And number 5, the Detroit Tigers. Agree or disagree, Tyson?
I'm going to disagree. No one's beat the Indians in 5 years now for that division?
Yep.
Maybe longer. I'm going to keep the Indians still up there at the top. I can see the White Sox moving up after their dreadful performance last year. I don't know about first or second. But I think the Indians definitely still have to remain at the top. They play in a crap division on the worst side of the baseball league, but I think they still earn that respect that they should definitely be the favorites in that division just because of, they've been doing it for the last couple of years now. So I definitely see that going. I forgot who else was in that division. I know you just said
Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota, the Twins. So I got Chicago, I got Cleveland, I got Kansas City, I got Minnesota, and then I have Detroit.
I'll keep your bottom 3. I'll swap your top 2.
Gav?
I would more or less agree with what Tyson said. The only way I can see the Indians falling off is if they follow through with, their shopping spree that they're, especially Kluber. If they get rid of Kluber, that's a big piece.
There goes their starting rotation.
Right. So, I mean, they got Josh Donaldson for what he's worth, but, I mean, he's already up there in age. I've seen him fall off when he was in Toronto. So, I mean, it's really a toss-up because of how bad that division is. Both you guys have said it, so I don't have too much more to add. If the White Sox can put it all together, if they actually have that young talent come up and, they can put the pieces there in the puzzle, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't be first, but, I mean, it's really a crapshoot, that division.
The Cubs did it in 2015. They brought all their young potential up, all their young talent. They added a key player who they needed to add in John Lester and David Ross. Well, that key player this season, I feel, is going to be Manny Machado. That's going to be the veteran leadership they need.
Did they actually get Machado, or are you still speculating?
I'm banking on them getting Machado right now. So as of right now, I'm banking on the White Sox getting Machado. They have Machado. They still have Tim Anderson. They still have Jose Abreu, who is the same in this position as Anthony Rizzo was in 15.
Well, if you look at it that way, if the White Sox get Machado, I don't see why they wouldn't be first. Just based off him alone, because I think that he is that kind of player that can propel a team up to 20, 30-something wins. I mean, he's that good.
Manny Machado's a guy in his career who has over a 300 OPS. So, I mean, seriously, like what you just said, he's going to do nothing but propel this team. If anything, he's going to add an offensive spark.
Right.
So, I got the White Sox going solely based that they get Machado. If they don't, then I'm probably going to have to change it up a little bit. But even that young talent can still get it done. Gab, you're going to hate me on this. This division is tough.
It's stacked.
It's going to be probably the toughest division in baseball with the top three teams I'm going to add here. The AL East. I'm going to kind of word this a little funky on you guys, so stay with me. Number one, up until the All-Star break, I have the New York Yankees. After the All-Star break, I'm going to have the Boston Red Sox. So up until the All-Star break, my top team is going to be the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Baltimore Orioles. After the All-Star break, it's going to be a deadlock between first and second, and it's going to alternate all season with the Yankees and the Red Sox. You got to look at what that Yankees roster is at right now, what Brian Cashman, the owner, and GM is doing to that team with the addition of Jed Lowry, Adam Ottavino in the bullpen, with the Bronx Bombers and Aaron Judge and Giancarlo. I mean, they're doing amazing things with that roster, and they are going all in and paying everybody.
Well, and they went and re-signed Britton that they got from the Orioles. Yep. They went ahead and brought in a free agent in Tulowitzki from the Blue Jays. I mean,
DJ LeMahieu.
They have brought exactly. They brought in so many guys to this Yankees team. They're going to be hard to beat. But the only way I think they're going to get beat out, and you said it, it's going to be the Red Sox, and it's going to be the championship caliber experience that they've had coming fresh off of a chip. Can they do it again? And that's what it's going to boil down to in that division.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see the Red Sox get off to quite as hot a start last year, but once again, they have not lost anything. They haven't really gained anything, but they haven't lost it. So, yeah, I could see that flipping back and forth all year. What'd you have for the rest of the three?
So, the other three I had Tampa Bay in second, Toronto following them, and Baltimore in last.
Okay, that's what I would have ranked it as well.
Basically, for the sheer fact that Vladdy Guerrero's coming up for Toronto, that's just going to add another offensive spark. Because you know that ball is going to go about 550 feet every time he's at the plate.
Right.
So.
Well, as long as they don't get rid of all the veterans on that team, I mean, they should be able to snag fourth place because Baltimore has been a dumpster fire the last couple of years. So
and they're not proven.
No.
They're right at the spot right now where the Blue Jays are at. The Blue Jays have actually flipped the switch on the rebuild.
Right.
The Baltimore is not doing it for whatever reason. I have no idea. They haven't had any key additions. If anything, they've had a lot of key subtractions.
Right.
From
They're
that
basically
roster.
Cleveland of the MLB.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one really knows what or why they're doing. They're just doing it.
Less than 20 years ago, Baltimore was the team to beat too in the MLB.
Yeah.
Think about that. All right, let's move on to the National League. Let's start out in the West. This is going to be a little difficult for me. This division in particular. Arizona has lost Paul Goldschmidt to the St. Louis Cardinals. He, like Tyson and I alluded to, he's on the downhill slide of his career, but he can still do great things.
Danger.
Absolutely. But here we go. You guys can agree or disagree with me on it. Number one, I got the Dodgers. Number two, I got the Colorado Rockies. Number three, I got the San Francisco Giants. Number four, I got the Diamondbacks. And number five, obviously, the Padres. The reason why I drop Arizona so low is for the fact that they have lost so much veteran leadership in Paul Goldschmidt. It's going to be kind of It's going to be kind of interesting to see what they do the rest of the year. Agree or disagree?
I have a hard time with this division. Every team but the Padres had a chance until about 3 weeks to go in the season last year. And it's like that every year. They're all super close. They're all equally bad or equally good. So I could see the Giants moving to 3. I have a hard time making them jump the Diamondbacks. But then again, the Giants haven't lost anything, but we know the Diamondbacks have. Even though the Giants ended up like 8 games worse than everybody else, even though it was close up until the end. I can see the Dodgers winning it again. I'll agree on that. After that, I just really have no idea with this division. It's a lot like the Central. It's just, it's the Dodgers are going to win it. It's when are they going to win it, and by how much are they going to win it. And then after that, it'll just fall into place. But I guess I'll agree for now. I could see any of that happening. It's very possible with this division. They always stay so close together.
Yeah, and one thing I would add, this is all before the possible addition of Bryce Harper that they could bring in. So that tells you how stacked this roster is right now.
Before you go off of that, I want to add this. The Dodgers just added Andrew Pollock for, I believe, a potential $60 million deal if he stays for the whole 5. He's got an opt-out 3 years. I don't know if they're going to be able to go for Harper at this point with giving him such a massive deal because they still have Bellinger, Seager, Turner. I don't know if it's going to be able to happen now. But they unloaded Puig, Wood, and Kemp to free up that space. But continue.
Well, they might know what they're doing then in that front office. But getting back to this, I mean, I don't really see. I mean, I could, like Tyson was talking about, I could see why you jumped the Diamondbacks. They lost a key piece, but I think they were so much better than the Giants last year. Maybe it won't affect them that much. Then again, I'm one of those people that think San Francisco just had an off year, and I think that they'll bounce back.
Yep. It's an odd-numbered year, which means they're probably going to win it. So,
so I'm going to go ahead and keep them in 3rd. I would swap them and the Diamondbacks and keep the Padres at the bottom. And I'll keep the Dodgers and the Rockies at the top, too.
The only other team I see having a potential to win the West would be the Colorado Rockies, besides the Dodgers. Because of the fact that they had a playoff push last year. They got a taste of it, and they got smacked in the divisional round. So they're going to be looking for some redemption with Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story. As long as Nolan Arenado's back, they'll be in business too. Let's move on to the NL East. Now, just so you guys know, Bryce Harper or Manny Machado is going to end up in the NL East. It's not going to be both of them. It's going to be one of them. I don't know who it's going to be. One of them is going to be wearing a Phillies uniform this season. I feel like it's going to be Bryce Harper, to be real honest. But number 1, I got the Philadelphia Phillies. Number 2, I have the Atlanta Braves. Number 3, I have the Nats. Number 4, I have the Marlins. Number 5, I have the Mets because the Mets have been a dumpster fire of the MLB just like the White Sox have for the last 4 seasons. Agree or disagree, Gavin?
I'm going to go ahead and agree with everything that you said. I don't see why. I mean, maybe the Nats take a little bit of a dip, but I don't think it's enough for Miami, especially New York, to jump them. I think Atlanta had a great season. They always have a great season, but like you said, if Philadelphia signs Bryce Harper, there's no reason why they shouldn't be number 1. They were neck and neck for the majority of the year, and they still got Jake Arrieta, who's a stud.
Aaron Nola.
Yep. And I just think that the team's just going to be too much for the Braves, which is sad because they always seem to make the playoffs, but they go out too early.
Yep.
And they always have a great roster. But, yeah, I'll go ahead and agree with – I'm not going to change anything.
Yeah, I agree. Even without Bryce Harper, I still think the Phillies take this division. They were so close last year and fell just short, and I think that stung them a little bit with that roster that they've got. I don't think they'll have any problem making that push for first. I also don't see the Braves having as good a year as they did last year, so moving them down to 2nd is reasonable.
Same roster and everything? Still got Freddie Freeman. They re-signed Nick Markakis. They haven't really lost anybody.
I don't really see it. I think Freddie Freeman and Markakis, for that, are getting a little bit older now. I still think they're incredible players. I don't think the roster can come together like they did again.
For sure.
They really had an amazing season last year. That's all there is to it. And I see them winning similar amount of games, but not as much. And I think the Phillies are going to win that much again. So I don't think they're going to have a bad season. I just don't think they can have as good a season as they did. So, but yeah, your bottom 3 I'd agree with. The Nationals are definitely going to take a dip. There's no doubt about that.
And that's sad to say because of that pitching core they've got with Strasburg and Scherzer.
Well,
Gio Gonzalez.
Gio Gonzalez, yep.
Yeah.
And let's think if it wasn't for the injury, Strasburg, how much better, I should say, would this team have been?
They're hard to beat when all three of them guys are healthy.
Well, you got 3 aces pitching on 3 straight nights.
Yep. Combination of lefties and righties, too. That's hard to hit. So, yeah, I don't know. This is going to just be just like the AL East. The NL East is going to be tight. You can't count
The top 2, and then after that, it's but
the same. I feel like it's going to be the same as it was last year. Come September, late August, early September, with Philly and Atlanta. We're going to move on to what I'm calling the second toughest division in MLB now. Last 3 years has been the toughest. This year, the AL East is taking that cake because they've got 3 teams in there that are probably going to be battling for first. NL Central, Tyson and Gavin. Up until the All-Star break, I have the Milwaukee Brewers in first. After that, I have the Chicago Cubs in first. In second, I have, going up until the All-Star break, I have the Brewers, the Cubs, St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. Going off of that, I'm going to have the Cubs in first. I'm going to have the Brewers in third. This is going to be really, really tough for me to say. I got the Cincinnati Reds in second over the Cardinals. Sorry, hang on. Let me rephrase that. So number 1 after the All-Star break, it's going to go Chicago, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Milwaukee, and Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm glad you dropped Milwaukee. I agree with that. I don't think they'll end up first again this year.
They're going to come out hot, I have a feeling, right out of the gate. Because once again, they got the returning NL MVP Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, Jesus Aguilar. They pretty much got the same roster, but I just don't feel like their pitching core is going to get it done. Because then the bullpen, all they got is Josh Hader.
Yeah, I don't know about Cincinnati.
I'll explain it in a minute.
I'm gonna keep them down there at 5 for me. I could see putting them at 4. Maybe the Pirates drop a few more games this year.
Pirates are going to be bad.
I've got the Cubs and then Cardinals and then Brewers. The Brewers are the same thing for me to go with Atlanta. They had a great season last year. I just don't think that they can pull everything together all at the right time just like they did last year. I think there will be a couple more issues. I think someone's going to have an off game instead of going 3 months without someone having a dry streak. Yeah. So I think the Brewers drop a few more this year. I've got the Cardinals moving up to second, the Cubs in first.
I've got the Chicago Cubs winning the division, then I've got the Brewers, and I'm going to stick with the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Reds. I just
don't see it with.
It might make sense.
I would love to see Cincinnati win some games, but
I think they'll win more games. I think Puig is a heck of a player, but I don't think that they have enough to, like Tyson said, maybe surpass Pittsburgh. But St. Louis and Milwaukee, especially even Chicago, I don't think that's even a question.
So here's the thing. Here's my reasoning on this. They added Yasiel Puig,
who had a great season 4 years ago.
2015 was his last season.
Paid like him, and then hasn't done anything since then.
You do it once, you can do it again. I feel like. I honestly feel that way. You had Matt Kemp. I understand he's on the downside of his career, but he has the veteran leadership, and he still can hit balls over the fence.
Always been a big Matt Kemp fan.
I love Matt Kemp. He's just one of them guys that's real likable.
Mm-hmm.
They had Alex Wood to the starting pitching rotation. They still have Billy Hamilton and Joey Votto. They just added yesterday Sonny Gray to that bullpen. Cincinnati's bullpen is extremely young and extremely upcoming. They have a younger roster. Billy Hamilton's going to steal bags. Yasiel Puig's going to poke balls over the fence along with Matt Kemp, and same with Joey Votto. Sonny Gray's going to come in, close some games out, and he's going to close games out that are close that probably they shouldn't win, but they might end up winning. Billy Hamilton's going to just, like I said, fly around the bases. I have a really firm belief that this Cincinnati Reds team is going to be a lot different than what we've seen in the last 10 years.
I think best case scenario you're talking about, obviously, second place.
Best case scenario.
How plausible is your best case scenario in second place? I mean, that's if everything comes together.
If everything comes together, it's extremely possible.
Right.
I feel that. I strongly feel that. You know why? Because the St. Louis Cardinals are going to be battling some issues this season that nobody's really going to see. They still have a young pitching core, and there's a lot of them guys are in their second year. Yachty's getting old. Paul Goldschmidt's old. Matt Carpenter, who led the league in RBIs last year for a long time, I get that. He ain't going to do that again.
He might not, but do you think that Dexter Fowler could come back and have a better season than he did last year? Because last year was garbage.
I don't know, because he still has a lot of problems with that front office.
Yeah, I was going to say
that's the whole issue.
The whole front office, and I feel like a lot of those players have an issue.
I mean, John Mozeliak has got to be the worst general manager in the entire MLB, I feel like. Besides maybe the guy in Baltimore, I don't even know his name. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. The NL Central is going to be tough. I got the Cubs winning 100 games, though, this year.
I think best case scenario for the Reds, they win 75 games this year.
That'd be a vast improvement over the last 5.
Because they've been winning, 55, 60 a year? I could see them winning 75, 80, maybe competing for third place.
I was about to say,
I think that's best case scenario.
Right, because that's not enough to get you second place, especially in that division.
I
That's
think
not
Yasiel
enough.
Puig, unless he has another year like he did in 2015, which I don't see happening because I don't think this is a contract year. Unless he goes nuts, no. Joey Votto's going to have a really, really good season. I know he has a good season every year, but he's going to have a really good one. Billy Hamilton's going to have to break the record for steals because no one else is going to be able to poke him around the bases.
That dude can steal home just like Javi can, though. So keep that in mind, so he can score himself.
But I just don't see it happening.
I think the addition of Matt Kemp with Joey Votto.
For Sonny Gray to be effective, you have to be close in a game at the end, and I just don't know if they can be close to the end.
I don't know. They swept the Cubs twice last year.
It doesn't count. They sweep us every year.
Well, here's the thing: is now that the Reds are better, do you expect the Cubs to actually win a couple games against Cincinnati?
I do. I really do, because they're going to come in with a whole different mindset, saying, "Hey, these guys ain't the scrubs of the NL Central no more."
Right.
They're going to be going in with that mentality against Pittsburgh. Which, how many times can you say that? Mm-hmm. And not in our lifetime. Pittsburgh's always been right there at the top in the NL Central with the Cardinals. It's been the Cardinals and Pittsburgh.
Brewers and Reds were on the bottom. Now it's switched. Now the Brewers and Cardinals are up at the top, and Pittsburgh's drastically fallen.
And who'd ever thunk that we'd have said that the Cubs would win 100 games in a year? Our parents wouldn't have sat here and said that. So, I don't know. I got the Reds in second. And if it happens, I'm going to sit here and laugh at you guys. And when they're dead last this season, come October, not in the hunt for the playoffs, you guys are going to sit here and laugh at me. So it's a two-way street on that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. We still got 2 key players that aren't signed yet. When Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, Andrew Pollock just signed with the Dodgers, so I'm going to try to stay updated on that. It's getting to be crunch time. We got less than 30 days until spring training starts. So, you guys want to talk about some football now?
We can do some football.
Sure, that's fine.
Can we start off before the 2 games that we had last weekend with Antonio Brown and that drama?
Absolutely.
What's going on? So I know he sat out a game. What was it, one of the games they needed to win or something?
Yeah, the very last game.
Yeah, they need to win that, right, to get to the playoffs.
To get in.
Yeah,
which they did.
Well, they did win, but they needed the Browns to win as well. And the Browns lost.
Because Baltimore beat Cleveland, and then that propelled them into the playoffs because they won the division.
Okay.
And obviously, you have the Chargers got that 5th seed, and the 6th seed went to who was it? The Colts, right? Because they went on that 10-game winning streak.
Yeah.
So, Pittsburgh with a 8-7-1 record was not going to cut it.
Yep.
And I think that they were just disappointed that he wasn't there. But
it's the Kardashians in the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is. There's no sugarcoating it. Because all the issues you have, all the drama with Ben Roethlisberger, now Antonio Brown, and you had all the Lev Bell stuff, too.
Which there's no way he's coming back, so they might as well plan for James Conner for several years.
Everything that sounds like better be planning for Juju Smith-Schuster the next couple of years, too.
He's going to be propelled to number 1 because Brown will get traded. He will get traded. I guarantee it's within the next couple months. He'll find a home. Le'Veon Bell, it's looking more likely he's going to be a Colt here pretty soon.
I'd love that.
So, it would be. Let's just look at it. If the Colts had Le'Veon Bell, if they had an established ground game against the Chiefs, I think it's a completely different story because in the elements, you need to be able to run the football. And they weren't able to do that in the wild card round, or the divisional round, excuse me.
They weren't able to do much anyway.
No, but I think the storyline would have been a lot different. I think the game would have been a lot closer because
there's a lot of validity to that.
You got a top 2 running back.
Right.
He's incredible. So, as far as Antonio Brown, the biggest rumor I've heard, and it hasn't been much because he's been keeping quiet, but I would like to see him in Cleveland. I think that would be the best thing for him because he's an emotional receiver. You got an emotional quarterback. Maybe you put them together, maybe things just kind of simmer down.
You'd have two emotional receivers at that point because Jarvis Landry's still there.
There's that, and I think that could be your new dynamic duo. He could go from playing with Schuster, and then he could come and play with Landry. And, I mean, especially with Baker, he plays a lot differently than Ben Roethlisberger does.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that would be your big three dynamic. And let's not forget about Njoku, who's a great tight end. I really like the chemistry that would develop there, and I would just like to see him stay within the division and play Pittsburgh twice a year and just really stick it to him.
I keep saying that he's going to go to two other teams as well as Cleveland, and one of them is the Dallas Cowboys, and number two is the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
Because you know how
he's emotional, and who's going to make him happy?
Jerry Jones.
Welcome to Jerry world, baby. Like, that's the one I've heard the most about, obviously, because I follow the Cowboys on a lot more things. He makes a great pair with Amari Cooper. I think the Cowboys are a lot more enticing team as well, just because they are a playoff caliber team, and it's the Cowboys. It's America's team. So welcome to the party. I could definitely see him going to the Browns, though. That's a very enticing offer as well, getting to play the Steelers twice a year and beat up on his old team.
What about the Niners, though?
The Niners playing with Jimmy G, but
if he's healthy. If he comes back.
Does he really want to go to a Niners team that was 4-12, 5-11?
5-11. I think
They won 5. I think they won 4 games because they lost the last one to Los Angeles.
Yeah, because even if they had Jimmy G, it doesn't look like this team could have gotten much better. There wasn't enough going besides George Kittle and Matt Breida last year. Their receivers, I couldn't tell you a single one of them.
Godwin, he's the track star for that team. He's one of the fastest guys in the league. I think he could be a solid number 2 or maybe even number 3.
Number 1, and they definitely need some help for that number 1.
Which I think if you brought in Antonio Brown, and you got George Kittle as your second option, kind of your Zach Ertz for the Niners, you know, and then you could have Godwin as your 3. He's kind of like Michael Gallup for the Cowboys. So I think that they would have a solid receiving core. You bring back Jimmy G, you're looking solid. Breida would go back to being your number 2 because then you'd have the Minnesota Vikings running back that he tore his ACL in the beginning of the season. I can't remember. Dalvin Cook, thank you. You would have him come back. He was pretty solid for Minnesota before the trade and before the injury, obviously. And I really like San Francisco's offensive line, especially with Nick Mullins in there. I think they protected him very well after Jimmy G went down. I would really like to see that dynamic if Antonio really wanted to go to the West Coast.
I think if he goes there, the team automatically gets better, and I think they're a playoff contender possibly. But I think the only team that he's got a for sure shot at the playoffs would be the Cowboys. The Niners and the Browns just don't do it for me yet. I think with that, the Browns are very capable of getting there, and I think the Niners are very capable of getting there. I just don't know if they will, and I don't think they will. It's been a long streak for the Browns, and I don't see it changing yet. I see it changing soon, but I don't see it changing yet. Same with the Niners. They haven't been good since 2012 when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Who's the quarterback?
Rip Colin Kaepernick.
Well, Smith and Cap, because Alex Smith went down mid-season.
Which Alex Smith still got hosed. He should have. I still don't think they should have traded him, but that's okay.
I agree.
But really all that has happened with Antonio Brown is just basically him throwing a fit is what I'm getting out of this.
Yes.
The biggest drama queen in the NFL.
And we know that the Steelers ownership and leadership group is not there to make players happy. They honestly don't give a crap is what it looks like with everything going with Lev Bell, with everything going with Antonio Brown now. There's just no communication in the entire building. No communication, no love for each other. They really are treating this like a business, and I get that it's a business, but there has to be some personal aspect to that where you can respect each other and treat each other correctly. And at this point, I don't think either side really cares, players or higher ups. So
couldn't have said it better myself.
So, unanimous consensus English words.
He's leaving. We'll see.
All right.
Yeah. I still think there's a couple dark horse teams in there that could play a factor that we don't know about yet.
Dubbers.
If they won, they could honestly...
But see, that's the thing. You're exactly right, because Chicago has been thrown around, but can they make the money work especially after that Khalil Mack deal.
That's what. Yeah, the Bears. I have a hard time seeing the money. The one thing with the Cowboys and the Browns is they have the money
exactly
right now. The Niners would have to look for it, but they've got it. But the Bears is a tough one making that work.
The only problem I see with Dallas, just to stay on this for one more second, is they're going to have to re-sign Zeke and Dak soon. Now, if they sign Antonio Brown to a lengthy deal for a lot of money, how is that going to work out?
The Cowboys are like top 3 in cap space right now. They've got a lot of young players on a lot of rookie deals, so what they've got actually isn't costing them as much as it should. So the Cowboys have more cap room than it looks like. So they have enough cap room. They've got an extra, like, I don't even know the numbers.
It's
but
insane.
They've got a lot of money that they can blow this season alone, and then after next season and the year after, it opens up even more, which is 2 years is when they have to have Zeke and Dak signed by. So if they can get extensions done this year or the year after, when it is that time, if they sign Antonio Brown this year, that gets rid of half their cap space, I'll say, from this year. They still have plenty of money. We've seen with Lev Bell, Zeke probably isn't going to get as much as he's worth. But
you don't see a Todd Gurley type deal with Zeke?
I could see more.
Okay.
But
not Lev Bell.
Lev Bell wants more than that.
Yeah.
I could see more, but Lev Bell wants more. So I could see Zeke getting that kind of money, but traditionally running backs aren't very expensive. There's no way Dak's going to get paid like Aaron Rodgers. He's going to get paid, but not like Aaron Rodgers did. So I don't really see it costing them too much in the end, and they've got the cap space to play with it. So, but they do have to sign DeMarcus Lawrence this year, unless they want to franchise tag him again. And I'm not going to get into that because it could be a long street there, but hopefully they'll just sign him and get it over with. But even with that signing and the money they're going to have to put into him, they still got a lot of room to play with.
I think the one good thing the Cowboys have going for him is Dak seems like the kind of guy that would take a cut in order to sign another guy that would help the team win. Uh-huh. He just has that kind of personality to me. He's laid back. He's like, you know what, I'll take a 10-15% cut if that means we can get this much of a better player. If we can get a Pro Bowl caliber player, that's fine.
That doesn't make him better.
Exactly. And I think that he knows that if he has a chance to play in the playoffs for championships and Super Bowls, the money's going to come either way. Yeah. And you take that 15-20% cut, you'll be just fine. I mean, we just look at Tom Brady.
And Jerry said he's going to get paid no matter what. So if he takes a cut one year, they're going to pay him back the next year. It's not like he's getting hosed in the end.
Exactly.
Let's move on to some games that happened last weekend. So the Saints got hosed. And the Chiefs got hosed as well, in my opinion. It should be a Saints-Chiefs Super Bowl. But at the same time, let's break down the Rams game first. Blatant PI that didn't get called pass interference, but also Jared Goff's face mask got ripped down, too, that would have put him first and goal to fresh set down. So that's a two-way street, too.
Well, and the thing with me is there was multiple helmet-to-helmet calls that were not called in that game.
But they missed 2 calls on that last play.
Yes, they did. Not only was it pass interference, it was a hit on a defenseless receiver, so you could have thrown a flag for either or.
Helmet-to-helmet, too.
Which is just unbelievable to me that you couldn't call a flag on either one.
That was from me to you.
Yeah, it was. He was 4 feet away from the play. Unbelievable. And people are going to say, "Oh, well, you're just a Rams hater." No, absolutely not, because I'm not a Saints fan. Anyone of this show knows that I'm a diehard Bears fan. Any way you slice it, there's no reason for me to like the Saints. There's no reason for me to like the Rams. This was an obvious.
I picked the Rams, and I wanted the Rams to win, and that was an obvious penalty.
Absolutely. Los Angeles was my pick to win the Super Bowl, and they're there, and they have a chance to do that. But they got there the wrong way. They should not be there. This should be New Orleans, and I will say it. New England should have won that game, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yikes.
And listen, I don't like the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots at all, but we'll get to that. Obvious pass interference on the Rams is unbelievable. The city of New Orleans and their fans, their season ticket holders, had every right to sue, although legally it means nothing. You could, any way you slice it, but they have every right to be upset. I am upset as a football fan because this is not the matchup that we should be getting next Sunday.
How about Roger Goodell being quiet about the whole thing, too?
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the missed call. If the Saints really should have won that game, why are they putting themselves in a position that they have to rely on a call by a ref with 5 minutes to go? I think if they really should have won it, they should have went out and won it earlier than that. They should have won it in the first quarter or the third quarter instead of having to wait till the end of the fourth quarter and maybe get a bailout call from a referee. So I just like to put that out there. Yes, they probably should have got that call. Well, they should have got that call and they should have scored. And there's a million different ways that game could have ended, but it didn't. And it ended the way it did. And I think if they wanted to change that shit, they should have done it earlier. They should have went out and scored a touchdown instead of punting 6 times. So I think the ref is not completely to blame here. I think the team could have played a lot better as a whole. Yes, they got hosed, and it sucks, and it's too bad, but that's all it is. It's too bad.
Drew Brees is going to be back next year.
Well, and that's the thing is you're absolutely right is that Sean Payton threw the ball on first down. Why did he throw the ball on first down?
Right.
Like, I understand that you're one of the most creative play callers in the league. You've been around for well over a decade, close to 2. But you throw the ball on first down knowing you got 2 minutes left in the ball game. You can run 40 seconds off the clock, and you have one of the best kickers in football. I mean, Lutz is clutch as there is, and they've been in this situation before back in 2009 when they went to the Super Bowl. It doesn't make any sense to me. If we're specifically talking about the call, it should have happened. The Saints should be in the Super Bowl right now, but you're absolutely correct when you say the Saints could have won this game. One thing that gets me, though, is how they lost it in overtime when Drew Brees tried to step up in the pocket and throw that ball, and I forget who hit him, and he ended up throwing a duck. I mean, that's you don't want to see that.
I think it was Sue that hit him. I wanted to say Donald, but I think it was Donkey Kong Sue that got through there and gave him the slap. I
just hate to see that. When you lose on a play like that where it's pretty much out of your control. I mean, Michael Thomas could have went up for it, but, I mean, he's...
I thought the throw was hilarious. I was so happy to see that because I picked the Rams to win. Like I said, I wanted them to win. And when the Saints got the ball, I was like, well, there goes my pick. Hopefully the Chiefs can win because I picked the Chiefs too.
Right.
But, yeah, when that ball came out, I was like, oh, that's it, later.
Yeah, it's disappointing to see that the refs miss that kind of thing at the end of a game, a crucial playoff game.
An NFC championship game.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is what it is, but, like Tyson said, I did pick the Rams to win the Super Bowl, and I'm hoping that they can come through and make me look real smart, but the Saints got screwed. They did.
The Rams are your NFC champions. I'll tell you why the Chiefs should be your AFC champions is because there was a PI called on, or a roughing the passer called on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That he just got, I mean, he didn't even get slapped. He didn't get touched. They brushed his shoulder.
I think they said because he hit him in the head.
Where did he hit him in the head?
Rotations when his arm came down and hit his chest. Maybe slapped him on the shoulder a little bit with his forearm, but yeah, that was a yikes from me.
Also,
that saved that drive on a third down and long, and then they went and scored a touchdown and took the lead because of that. So.
Patrick Mahomes played bad in the first half. He had the jitters. You could see it in his
bad.
I mean, it was bad. I mean, you can't blame him. He's 23 years old. His first AFC championship game he's playing against Tom Brady.
Yep.
I mean, I would think I'd be a little nervous if I was in his situation too. The second half, Mahomes played great. You can't deny that.
Fourth quarter, he played outstanding.
And going off of that, D Ford lining up 6 inches over the line of scrimmage to give them a fresh set of downs on 3rd and 10.
That's a big mental mistake.
Oh. Here's my issue with that.
Game was over.
Here's my issue with that. Okay, and
Edelman touched it.
It's no, he didn't.
Edelman touched it.
But I wish that I could say that he did. But
he really, really looked like it, and I was convinced for a solid 10, 15 minutes that he did. But I think what you're seeing on that replay, it's the strap of his glove that looks like his thumb.
Yes.
His thumb is actually hidden. So it misses the thumb, but it looks like the strap because we don't have an angle where you can actually see the strap.
Right.
And I think that's giving you a false thumb that looks like it touched it because that strap wiggles when his arm moves.
Exactly. So I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm not the only one that saw that side of the replay.
Yeah.
Which tells me that no, he didn't. But what I want to get back to is the D Ford situation. That play should have never happened. Okay, Kansas City had 3 opportunities to stop the Patriots on 3rd down before that even occurred. Yeah. And they let Julian Edelman run the same exact route 3 plays in a row.
They literally ran the same play. Tony Romo called it every time.
Yeah. He said, Julian Edelman over the middle, 12 yards, there it is, 1st down. 3 times in a row. If you're Andy Reid, if you're the Kansas City defensive coordinator,
he's gone.
They fired Bob Sutton.
Yeah, he's gone.
What are you doing in that situation? That is your fault.
Yeah.
That is because that should have never happened. After the pass interference, they get to 15 yards, they get up to the 45 or whatever. You cannot let that happen 3 times in a row because then that leads to the D Ford situation. If you would have stopped it right there, nipped the butt off, it's over. You won.
Which besides that, D Ford had an amazing game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He had 2 sacks, 8 tackles, and
He put so much pressure on Tom Brady in that game that it was. I mean, he had one mistake that's going to take everything away that he did in that game.
No, he's going to get paid for that game. Well, his whole season this season, but it was his contract year this year. He's going to get paid by Kansas City to stay for a while.
Tyreek Hill was silent. Travis Kelce was big. I thought. I mean, go figure. They had double, triple coverage on the cheetah. And
Can we talk about Eric Berry's struggles against Gronkowski towards the end of the game there? Like we can tell Eric Berry is starting to get up there because, and don't get me wrong, Gronk is up there.
Big size disadvantage there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is Gronk doesn't have the verticality that he used to.
Right.
So you trust Eric Berry to go ahead and make that play.
I mean, Eric Berry's that good. He's that caliber, but yeah, he struggled.
Exactly, and you could just tell that he had been out of football for a little bit before he came back, and it hurt me to see because Berry's always been one of those guys that's been fun to watch, even though he's played for the Chiefs like the majority of his career. He's always been a guy that's stuck with me because I love his game, and just to watch him struggle against Gronkowski, who's probably done after this next game on Sunday, it really hurt me because if he would have just made one play, if he was able to make one play, I think he could have sealed the deal. Because we saw Sorensen get that interception. We also saw him almost get that punt return for a touchdown. I feel like if Eric Berry could have stepped up and done what he did, because Sorensen I think been in the league for about 4 years, he's somewhat of a veteran. If Berry would have stepped up, man, that would have been great.
Chiefs team's going to be even better next year, though. And especially if Gronk retires. Okay, so if Gronk retires, hypothetically, that's what it looks like.
Hypothetically, if Gronk retires, Tom Brady retires, and Bill Belichick retires, then...
So technically, there's no more Patriots. This is going to probably, if that happens, this is probably going to be the last run of the Patriots.
Here's why
Belichick goes.
Here's why I don't think that is even if Gronk goes, the Patriots have 11 picks in this draft.
And I keep seeing that. Hang on, before you continue that, I keep seeing that Kyler Murray might sliding all the way down to the Patriots.
I don't know about that. Somebody will take him.
That's what I keep reading is that Kyler Murray might slide all the way down to the Patriots.
And then sit behind Tom Brady for 2 years before he plays. And I think that would be great.
It would be great for him. Here's the thing: is people need to understand. I don't hate the Patriots. I hate Tom Brady and I hate Bill Belichick. If they go, I got no problem with New England at all anymore.
Yeah, because they're not going to win anymore.
That's well, if they brought in a different coach that was really good, I would have no reason to hate them. I don't like the black marks next to their resumes. They're going to stick with them.
It's all the stuff that the Deflategate, all this Spygate, and then the Adam Guerrero TB12 stuff.
It's ridiculous.
What taints me from them. But also,
taint.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we're moving on. So we got a Patriots-Rams Super Bowl. Go Rams! My shirt's in the mail.
Me and Gavin both picked Rams Chiefs at the beginning of the year, so we were pretty close.
Pretty dang close.
Pretty close, but let's go Rams.
I had Cleveland and San Diego. So.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, the Chargers, they came close, but they ran into Tom Brady.
Yep. They got smacked. Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Jeez.
So that's going to end up our football talk. We're going to go into the Super Bowl probably, Friday next week, just for the sheer fact that the Super Bowl's Sunday.
Something like that.
Can I just say this real quick? I got an update on my phone that before we switch topics. The Chicago Bears are looking for a replacement for Cody Parkey. They are working out
six to seven kickers.
Several kickers, including Nick Folk and Blair Walsh. If we sign Blair Walsh, I am going to lose my shit.
When Robbie Gold's out there?
We need to trade for Robbie. Trade for Robbie, please.
Trade Parkey for Robbie.
I don't care who it is. Just not Blair Walsh. Not Blair Walsh, man.
Blair Walsh is a worse situation than what we had with Cody Parkey.
Yeah, he's not all that bad.
Missing a chip shot from 24 yards out to go to the championship game.
You watch a lot more football than I do, but Blair Walsh hit that kick that Parkey missed.
Yes, I believe so.
His confidence is shook. I don't want him on this team. I do not want him.
Kicker from Pittsburgh? Boswell?
Chris Boswell.
Give him new life. Give him new life.
I like Boswell. He's had
a phenomenal career. He's had one bad season.
Yeah,
I don't know about all that. I don't think he's clutch. I think he misses that kick too. I think he can make a lot of kicks.
I like Boswell.
I don't think he makes the big kicks.
Okay. I'd like Kansas City's kicker. I'll take Bucker. If he wants to come to Chicago, I'll take him.
Or Zerline throwing that 57-yarder.
For the win, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zerline. He's really the hero of that game.
Trade Minnesota, go get you a Dan Bailey.
Dan Bailey would be all right with me, too.
Yeah, I'd like Dan Bailey on the Bears. That'd be something. All right, we go ahead and move on now. I need to go off on a little
Overtime rules
2-minute
in the
tangent.
NFL are garbage.
Yes, they are, and they need to change it for the playoffs.
They literally said at the beginning of the Rams game, they're like, the rules have changed this year in the playoffs.
Yeah, because you were texting me about that.
Yeah, the ref came out and said that the rules are different, and then the rules were not different than the regular.
The only difference is you play more than one overtime period.
Correct.
That's the only difference.
So
because you can't have a tie, you have to have a winner.
Exactly.
Why can't they go with the college format? Or
Thank you.
Or do this.
No.
Go with the college format, or help me with this. We're all hockey fans in here. Go with a field goal shootout. Seriously.
No.
You started
No.
Hang on. Leave Perky out of this. You start at the 40, you keep moving until they miss. It's a shootout. If they're all the way back at the 75, then
That's a shootout basically just using your goalies, though. Like, the goalies just have to shoot from their own net and see who can make it past the other.
The only thing I want is an opportunity to match the opponent's score or win. So let's say you get the ball first, you go down and score a touchdown. At least give the other team an opportunity to match that touchdown. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. If the other team goes down and gets a field goal, you have a chance to get a field goal. So if they get a touchdown, you should have a chance to get a touchdown.
The way the overtime rules are set up right now is they need the defense basically has to play better than the offense, right? They have to get a stop.
They have to. Yeah. Opening drive, they have to.
I like
Depends on how you define stop, because if you count a field goal as a stop, then yes.
They have to get the ball back.
Yes, they have to
without
get the ball
letting
back.
any points scored whatsoever.
I like how it's set up. I think it's a good test of the entire team as opposed to your quarterback and a playmaker in college, because if you play from the 25-yard line, NFL quarterbacks can make a throw to the end zone from 25 yards very accurately to anybody on the field.
Okay, well, what if instead of at the 25, what if they back it up to the 50?
I was going to say, what if we keep it at the 25, but you got to go the other way? You got to go 75 yards if you want to win.
That's basically how it is.
Yeah.
You kick off and you go from the 25 because almost all kickoffs are a touchback now, and you play from the 25.
Yeah, true.
So
Exactly.
that's exactly how it
So
is. So
that's
I like how it's set up now. I could see you going, the other team gets a chance even with the touchdown.
Yes. That's the only thing I would
see that.
change. That's the only thing I would change about it is just give the other team an opportunity.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, what happens if that team goes and scores a touchdown as well?
Then the other team's got to go score again.
Well, what happens if that team scores?
Then
Does
you
it
get-
just keep going back and forth?
until
So
someone doesn't
still
score.
has to get a stop.
Yes. Or if one team gets a field goal, they still scored, but let's say that team gets the ball back and they go score a touchdown,
Well, then
the
it's
game
over.
over.
Right. So one team still has to get a stop, so really nothing changes.
Essentially.
Right, but I kind of...
But it would just be higher scored. It would be 85 to 85 instead of...
That,
Yes.
and say, like, in this situation, Patrick Mahomes gets a chance to go down the field and actually try to tie it, to give his defense another life. You know, I agree with that.
Or let's just change it to play the entire period like we used to do, and if it's tied, just go into a second overtime.
I like that.
I
like
miss
how it
those
used to be.
rules.
Yeah,
Yes.
Agreed.
Or we just do a shootout with field goals.
Yeah, no.
We just-
Honestly, I'm not opposed. At this point, yeah.
Something's gotta
Anything's
change.
better than the current format. I can tell you that right now.
Shootout with field goals. Let's move on to some NBA. Victor Oladipo's done for the year. My hopes and dreams are probably crushed now because I'm a newfound Pacers fan. Although Gavin did bring something to my attention. We were 8-4 without him. But let's get off of that. By the way, we did beat you guys the other night. I don't care who was on the floor and who wasn't. I'm sorry you were in attendance for that 4-point win we had, or 6-point win.
Oh, I wasn't at all. I actually really enjoyed the game. As long as it's close,
It's
I don't.
competitive.
Yeah, I don't mind it being a loss. I mean, yeah, no, you never want an L. You never want to take that, but 110-106, Indy went ahead and took the dub. Kawhi Leonard was out. Jonas Valanciunas was out. Victor Oladipo went down towards halftime. I think there was 3 minutes and change left in the second quarter. He went down with that. Was a quad rupture.
Quad.
Yeah, that's, man. I tell you what.
That just sounds bad.
And you could hear it. You could hear it in the stands.
Oh, God,
him. I mean, not the injury, but him screaming in pain. I mean, you could tell that it was not pleasant.
Something was wrong. Definitely wrong.
What was really interesting is that it was a non-contact injury, and you could see it because the big screen there in Bankers Life Fieldhouse is huge, so you could see it on there. You could tell when he came down, Pascal didn't touch him at all. Pascal Siakam was not involved with this whatsoever. He came down, and you could tell his leg just kind of shook, and he fell. He had no control over it. And, he's sitting there on the ground. He's looking at his knee, and he is waving over. Tyreek Evans is waving over the trainer. I mean, and they got him on that stretcher as quickly as they could. He gave the thumbs up, which tells me that he's in good spirits. He's one of my favorite players. I have his jersey hanging up on my wall right now. I really hope for a speedy recovery for that guy. What I found out is Tony Parker had the same injury a couple years ago, and he's a lot older than Oladipo is. And that was an 8 to 9 month recovery, which tells me that's roughly how long it's going to take. He could be back, depending even sooner, because his body's younger, it can recover quicker.
And he's extremely physically fit.
And he's resilient.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I know all these guys are physically fit.
I would love for him to get a speedy recovery. I hope he can come back for a couple preseason games if he can, and just kind of get the motions going again, because this is the lifeblood of Indiana and the Pacers. And don't get me wrong, they're still going to be a playoff team. I think that they'll drop down to the 4 or 5 seed, unfortunately, without him. But like you said, and we talked about this, they're 8-4 with Oladipo off the floor because he was already injured previous this year with a knee injury. So we'll have to see if they can come together. It was just a really, really disappointing thing to see, and I just wish him a speedy recovery.
Milwaukee's back in first, but we beat this standing stuff into the ground. Well, I want to talk about something pretty phenomenal, I feel like, but it's also kind of controversial. James Harden, in the last 5 games, has scored 261 points. I want to get your guys' take on what you think about that.
He's the MVP.
What does that average out to? Like
51.2 points a game, 4 or 5.
Wow.
Which is the most over a 5-game stretch since Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes.
Let's just say it for what it is.
This is why I want to bring this up, because I keep hearing stuff. Okay, my opinion is on this. You got James Harden scoring 61 the other night. There ain't too many other people touching the ball. Is it selfish? Is it not?
Are they
He's
winning?
hot. They're winning.
Then it's not.
Okay. So seriously, I'm hearing a lot of mixed things about it. I'm hearing people saying it's selfish. I'm hearing people say, "Oh my God, he's doing great things," which I think he is.
Well, here's the thing:
I think it's selfishly good for the team.
Okay, that's a good way.
That is a good way to say it.
Taking all the shots, but if he's
He
the
makes
one
every
making
one of
the
them.
shots, then you can't really complain. Yes, it's selfish. He's taking all of them. But if he's gonna make them when someone else wouldn't, then it's good for the team. So yes, it's selfishly good for the team, because I don't really trust a lot else on that roster.
PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon.
Here's the thing is you say you haven't seen him miss, but that's probably because the highlights would make you think he can't miss. The thing is he's shooting about 38% from the floor. It's not that great.
No.
I mean, here's the thing is he's inefficient, but if you're going to get that many points and your defense can step up enough, it doesn't matter. If you win games, I mean, don't switch up the formula, because I think they're up to the 3rd or 4th seed in the West now.
Yes.
So that's after a 1-6 start. That's incredible.
Melo's now a Bull.
Yeah, and they've already said he won't play a game. They're waiting to waive him. He'll probably end up on the Lakers at some point, which is disappointing, because I really wanted to buy a Melo jersey.
They're not going to play him?
No.
What?
He's going to sit on the bench. Yeah.
I was excited.
Yeah, see, I was too, because I was like, oh, they'll do it for revenue, and then I thought, wait a
I
minute.
thought the tank was real.
The United Center always has
That
top free ticket sales. Yeah. So that's not why they did it. They did it, and they got like $1.2 million in cash cap room. So, I mean, yay.
For Zion.
Yeah, I guess so. But I mean, yeah, James Harden's just MVP, man. I mean, this is the greatest thing we've seen since maybe LeBron getting that close to a 50-point triple double in 2013 or 2012, excuse me.
I think James
maybe
Harden
Kobe.
with his 81-point performance.
Yeah, 2009. So 2006, excuse me. Man,
so think about it this way. I lost my train of thought. Man, what was I going to say? I forgot.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about your man Sabonis last night. He played really well.
Sabonis played really well last night.
Yeah.
Something that's not playing really well is the Illini.
Yeah. How was that game?
Oh, yikes.
The Illini, we were only supposed to lose that game by 4 points. We lost by 12. I left with about 6 minutes left in the second half, if that tells you anything. Wisconsin. So we went 6 minutes and 37 seconds without scoring in the second half.
Not even a free throw.
No, we were about 30. What we ended up, we were 50% start at the halftime from the line. Wisconsin had 10 fouls with 5 minutes left in the 5 minutes into the second half. We were shooting 2 from there on out. For 15 minutes and 36 seconds, we were shooting 2.
And we got to the line, twice in the last 15 minutes?
My God.
Something like that?
Georgie played it great. Georgie is putting himself on the map for Big Ten player or Big Ten freshman of the year.
Yeah.
Romeo Langford obviously is probably going to be ahead by a landslide, but Georgie's putting his name on there. I think if Georgia, it's going to go Romeo Langford, and they need to give Georgia Bashangishvili a look at, because I would assume who's going to be on that list as well. But outside of them three, I don't see any other freshmen really that deserve to be even looked at. Iggy, yeah. Iggy, though, isn't averaging near as many points in Big Ten play that Georgia and Iowa are now, because he's had a couple nights where he's either scored 0 or 2.
Well, but look who else is on that team, though. I mean, he's got to share the ball.
Yeah,
Michigan's
John
stacked.
Teskey, who's the leading shot blocker in the NCAA, who this coincidentally lost to Wisconsin last Saturday. Ethan Happ played bad. I'm not a big.
Ethan Happ had a lot of fouls. He was on the bench a lot for that.
He was not prepared for Georgie.
That's the only guy I know on the team. That's what's crazy about this Wisconsin roster.
Well,
I don't know
Kobe
anybody
King,
else.
Kobe King's not bad. That Trice kid, he's shooting. I believe he's almost.
Is he a transfer?
Trice is. I think he's shooting almost 45% from beyond the arc.
Who's that other big guy they got besides Happ?
Reavers.
Yeah,
Reavers.
that
Is Trice from like Xavier or Villanova or something?
Yeah,
Xavier? Okay.
That Reavers kid.
Yeah.
He filled in a lot of big shoes for Happ. Ethan Happ lost his streak of.
They like to run that double with him and Happ.
Well, Happ can do it as a 6'11". They've got him listed at 7 foot, so he's probably 6'11". Really, he can come out on the perimeter, and he can play like a guard at 6'11". And then he can also go down low, post up, and he will post anybody up. He posted John Teskey up in that game, made him look like a little kid. Georgie didn't even do that to him. Georgie played tough physical defense, stopped Happ, frustrated him. That flagrant one with that hook and reach that they're calling now real heavy in college on DeMonte, you could tell he's just frustrated. But I'm not a big fan of student sections chanting at a guy like Ethan Happ's stature as somebody that's overrated because he's having an off night. I'm not a big fan of that.
I'm not a big fan of it, but I mean, if
they're just trying to get in his head.
I was going to say, if you can get it inside their head and get them off their game, that's exactly what you need to do.
Well, they chanted overrated to Mac McClung when we played Georgetown, and he ended up 360 and a dunk behind his head. So about 30 seconds later, after he poked the ball from Kipper, that's why I'm not a big fan of that happening, because Ethan Happ at any point could drop 20 points. Hell, he had 32 against Michigan. I think he was 32 or 30 or 32. But Ethan Happ lost his streak of double-figure games. It went from 42 to now 0. That's impressive. 42 straight games,
especially in college.
More. In the Big Ten.
Yeah. Man, that is impressive.
Duke's playing great, as always.
I don't think Michigan should have dropped to 5.
No, that was outrageous.
Everybody lost. Literally everyone lost.
Minus Duke.
Minus Tennessee.
Oh yeah, minus Tennessee.
Tennessee should be 1. I agree with that. Duke should be 2. Michigan should be 3.
That's how I would have it.
I got
Virginia should be
over Duke.
Yeah, I agree. But the way it would have fallen, since they both lost, then they would both just move down 1 and Tennessee would jump up. But Virginia lost. There's no need for Virginia to jump Michigan.
No.
I don't understand that.
Absolutely not. Especially after what the team did last year. And I know you're supposed to not think about what they did last year, but they still got a lot of the same players.
Right.
There's no reason they should be
All
ahead of
the guys
Michigan
they
right
had
now.
last year are now juniors.
It's ridiculous.
But for everybody else to move up and for Michigan to fall, I think that's some baloney.
They fell hard, too. I mean, they fell 3 spots. Or 2 spots. 3 spots. They were in 2, right?
2.
Yeah. 3 spots. They lost to
And
an
then,
unranked
and then
Wisconsin
Georgetown moved up. Yeah.
No, look up the rankings.
I'll go ahead. I'm on it.
Gonzaga
I was
moved
going
up.
to say Georgetown.
Wait, I'm pretty sure Gonzaga lost too, so I didn't see why they moved ahead of Michigan.
I know the only team on Saturday that won in the top 5 was Duke.
Tennessee.
And Tennessee, yeah. Duke and Tennessee. So 2 of the top 5 won.
But Duke lost like 3 days before that.
Right. And they probably shouldn't have.
No, they lost to...
Right now, it is as follows. I'm just going to go through the top 10.
Yeah, it was the top 10.
So we got Tennessee, Duke, Virginia, Gonzaga, Michigan, Michigan State, Nevada, Kentucky, Kansas, and Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech, I agree with. They're playing pretty well. I watched them play Saturday, too. They like to run, too. They got 3 7-footers that like to run. So that's going to be hard, especially in college. NBA is a little different, but in college, if you got 2 or 3 trees that like to run and that can do it.
North Carolina did just smack Virginia Tech, though, by
I'm not a big believer in North Carolina this year.
21 points.
Come March, I wouldn't put any money on North Carolina.
No, agreed.
This
I
is
think
the
they'll
worst
still make it to the 16, but I don't know if they'll make. They're usually pretty good at going to the Final Four.
Roy Williams can get there, but this is by far the
But
worst
yeah,
team he's had in
agreed.
15
This
years.
is not that team.
Well, but it's like you said, 3 of their 4 losses are from ranked opponents, right? So, I mean, how bad can they be? Top 10 opponents, excuse me.
But they keep in mind, North Carolina normally beats top 10 opponents.
This is true. I mean,
That's the only thing I'm banking off of.
But can you fault them for not?
No, because they're actually playing like they should.
Right.
how about all these teams ahead of Buffalo? I mean, they've only had 1 loss on the
But that's
season.
back to the strength of schedule.
Fair enough.
Look at the conference.
But 1 loss is 1
You
loss.
put Buffalo in the Big Ten, they're going to get smacked by anybody except the University of Illinois.
Well, and Penn State right now. I mean, Penn State's not playing good at all, unfortunately.
So you're saying we could win 2 Big Ten games?
I think we have a
twice,
we have a good chance to beat Penn State. Yeah.
Good chance.
Yeah.
Good chance.
Speaking of that, Illinois, Iowa is proving that he is not NBA ready these last 2 games.
No.
He can't score night in, night out.
I could have told you that after watching the first 2 or 3
I
Big Ten
agree
games.
100%, but everybody's saying that Iowa at number 22, I believe, is where he's ranked at right now on the draft, pre-draft rankings. He ain't ready, and if he goes, he's going to hurt himself. But he's also going. He doesn't have to worry about going to class. He can work out all day, work on that shot. But he ain't going to see any substantial playing time if he goes right now.
Duke lost to Syracuse a week and a half ago. That's what
That
it
was
was.
who it was.
Can someone tell me why the hell Louisville is in here at 13-5?
I have no clue. That's
That baffles me.
Because they beat who they beat? They beat North Carolina.
They beat North Carolina.
And they smacked them too.
I mean, that's great. So you're telling me they went in at 12-5 and that was good enough to
How
get
Iowa
them in?
State's not in there, Nebraska's not in there.
Iowa State is,
They are in there now.
but they're behind Louisville. That's what I don't understand. They're 14-4. Louisville's 13-5. How is Iowa State worse than Louisville? They're not. That doesn't make any sense.
Iowa State's behind Louisville?
Yes.
That's a better team. Iowa State's by far the better team of them two. That Horton Tucker kid that Illinois missed out on from Chicago because Brad Underwood rescinded his scholarship for, I can't remember who it was. I can't remember if it was for Alan Griffin or Tevian Jones. But he rescinded his scholarship and went with them over Taylor Horton Tucker.
Well, my thing is if you're going to put Louisville at 23, I mean, you got to have Indiana in
who's
there.
at 25?
LSU.
What?
Yeah.
At 14-3 right now.
They haven't played anybody.
Is Alabama
They have
ranked?
no.
LSU's ranked over Alabama?
Yeah, they have.
Alabama's not even getting votes.
Yeah, they have no substantial wins whatsoever. I don't understand that. And then you have Florida State sitting on the outside with 139, and then Purdue right behind them. I really don't.
Am I reading this correctly? Florida State dropped out from number 11?
Yeah, they completely.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all.
Can you look up and see who they lost to?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I
incredible.
can't remember who they lost to, but they lost to somebody that was unranked. Not only did they lose, but they got beat.
Well, see, this is why they do this, though, is so we talk about
Sit here
it, just
and
like
complain
this.
about-
That's all it is.
Come tournament time, come March, Gavin, this stuff has no meaning to seeding.
No.
But what are we doing? We're sitting here
Discussing. Yeah. Because
it's wrong.
They can't
It's
get it
so
right.
Wrong.
Well, someone thinks it right. Someone thinks it's right, obviously.
These AP voters, the only one I agree with is in town. He works for the News Gazette, and it's Scott Ritchie. He's the only one that he's had Michigan voted number 1 for the last 6 weeks. I don't blame him.
Other than Tennessee, there's no reason Michigan shouldn't be number
I don't
2.
see how. He's got it. Who did Florida State lose to?
In their last 4 games, they lost to Duke by 2.
Yep.
They lost to Pittsburgh by 13.
That killed them.
They lost to Boston College
That's
by
the one
5.
I'm thinking of. Boston College.
And then they beat Clemson by
But they
9.
beat Clemson.
That's a good win.
Lose to Boston College and
But
Pittsburgh.
beat Clemson. What? What sense does that make?
Well, see, that's why they still got nearly 140 votes, is because they beat Clemson. But there's still no reason that LSU should have gotten 15 more votes than they
Or
did.
Indiana or Nebraska.
Or even Purdue at this point. Purdue got 111.
I agree with
The only
that.
reason
So-
LSU's ranked because they beat ranked Ole Miss by like 20.
Ole Miss is not good.
Okay, but Ole Miss is only ranked 20th right now.
You can call it right now. What is today? January 25th.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is going to get knocked out in the round of 64.
LSU's ranked over Alabama because they beat Alabama.
So that's their one good win.
They haven't lost this month.
And Ole Miss is.
They beat Georgia, South Carolina,
Ole Miss
Ole
was
Arkansas,
ranked.
Alabama. They beat ranked 24 Furman by 20 points.
Why was Furman ranked?
Not sure.
Undefeated.
Okay.
They lost to Houston when Houston was ranked 24.
But Houston's only gotten better from there.
Yes.
They're 17.
They lost to
Strength
Florida
schedule,
State
too.
when Florida State was 14.
The best team in Houston's conference is UNLV.
And they lost to OK State.
Nevada.
But they're still, I mean, UNLV's still a decent program. I mean,
Smacked Illinois.
so I don't, man, I guess you could argue it somehow, some way, but I ain't buying
Where's
what they're trying to
Nevada
sell. They're seven right now.
Good. They deserve that.
And they've been in 7 for the past few weeks.
They're not
so,
moving. They're not
They
dropping.
deserve that. Michigan State's 16-2.
Nevada's
Nevada's
a good team.
18-1.
Nevada's a good team.
Strength of schedule. That's what we just talked about. That's what it comes down
I agree
to.
with Nevada at 7. Michigan State on top of it.
I mean, they've
So
only
tell me
got
how
2
Michigan
losses.
State has 2 votes for first.
That I don't get.
No, that what?
Tennessee has 48 votes for first. Duke has 11. Virginia has 3. Gonzaga and Michigan have 9. And
okay.
Michigan State has 2.
Not only that, Michigan State has 2, Virginia has 3, and Michigan has 0.
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What?
Michigan State is on top of the Big Ten right now.
So that's why they got votes then.
Probably, but
Unbelievable.
I still think that's
I
garbage.
think Michigan and Michigan State play this weekend. I think.
Why is Virginia even up there, dude?
Did they even play each other this year?
Unbelievable.
Sunday, the 24th of February.
Oh, yikes! I'm a little
And
off. I knew it was one.
And the 9th of March.
It's about a month away.
I knew it was. I couldn't remember when it was. I thought it was this weekend.
It's the last game of the season.
That's gonna be a
Michigan
barn
State.
burner.
Can someone please explain to me? Okay, we've talked about Virginia, but Gonzaga. Why? Why are they on top of Michigan?
Strength of schedule. Strength of schedule.
Who do they play?
Who's their best team that they play?
They played and beat Duke. I guess you could.
They beat Duke in Maui.
But that was like 2 months ago.
Let's see.
The
The
Maui tournament was
strongest
back as soon
team.
as the season started.
Back in November.
Yeah.
So
The strongest team in their conference as of right now is San Francisco, followed closely by BYU.
Okay, Brigham Young is not a bad basketball.
they lost to Illinois State.
Yes,
True.
but
They lost to Illinois State.
how Gonzaga is.
At this point, though, I think Illinois would lose to Illinois State.
Yes, that is. I
I'm
agree with that
confident
100%.
And you know what? You're not wrong because I mean Illinois State they're having a down year, but
They're still better than
have
Illinois.
they still have 8 or 9 wins on the season. So
And you look at it this way, Loyola Chicago's gonna. If they came down to Champaign, they'd smack Illinois too.
yeah,
I have. Who do we beat in the Valley? The Aces.
Evansville.
Evansville.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was it.
but they're bad.
They're
bad.
Evansville smacked Illinois State, though.
Like I said, Illinois State's been hot and cold. They're all over the place. They still got 8 or 9 wins, but I mean
More
again,
than what we got.
they beat Brigham Young, man.
No, I lied. Illinois State beat Evansville twice. Who beat up on them? Bradley beat up on them last night.
No, it was man, I can't remember. They got a weird name that I can't remember the name of, but they beat them pretty bad.
Valparaiso.
No, Valpo only beat them by 2 on a last-second shot.
That was the bad loss that they had.
Funky name you're thinking of?
Yeah.
UIC beat them
That was
by
the bad
about
loss.
20,
University of Illinois Chicago beat
Yeah.
Illinois State by 20 points.
94-75, so 19, but
At Chicago.
The University of Illinois Chicago Flames or whatever they're
Yes,
called.
the
they
Flames.
lost to UCF by 22.
Well, Central
20
Florida's a
as
good.
well,
They're a
21.
good team.
They lost to San Diego State.
Well,
by
for their
10.
conference, they're a good team. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
They've got some good wins.
And
they
they
got
won the
some good
NIT.
losses, so.
So
Last year, Penn State won the NIT.
the year before that, it was UCF.
I know, but look at the Penn State, and they won the NIT last year. They're not even going to get a bid. Illinois
No.
not even going to get a bid.
No,
Michigan plays Indiana tonight. That's all I got.
Michigan plays Indiana tonight. That's going to be a good game.
go Hoosiers.
Go Hoosiers. We're all Hoosiers fans today, and I can't believe I'm saying that either. Indiana basketball to me is about like Michigan football.
I dig it. I dig
hate
it.
Indiana.
Yeah, you're a Pacer fan, man. There's something wrong with you.
There's a difference between hating a college, Indiana University, and like.
So did you hate Oladipo 4 years ago, and you love him
I
now,
couldn't
or
stand Voight Vick.
I hate
Oh,
Alabama,
okay.
but I can dig the Falcons. So
I like Alabama's basketball program.
I
They're
don't-
a bunch of dogs, man.
wait, the Falcons? Isn't that Georgia?
Atlanta Falcons. Oh,
Where are you at?
Just go roll our head.
I was like, wait a minute, Alabama.
Hang on. I got my states mixed up.
I was like, that's east.
They're all in there somewhere.
Down in the Southland, you know.
They don't know basketball down there like we do up here, though. Sorry.
All right, we'll go ahead. How about we leave it at that, huh?
No. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
all right.
Alabama Falcons.
Alabama Falcons. Let's just go ahead and leave it there. All right. If you liked what you heard, make sure to hit the big red subscribe button down below. Also, hit the bell icon next to it so you guys never miss a beat. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, and it is sports_twin.
Here.
There we go. All right. Also, leave a like, comment, rating, whatever you want to do down there. If you, that's all I got. That's all we got. That's what we're getting to. My name's Gavin Campbell. That was Tyson Snyder, Cale Fleming. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
Based upon the view, you can't have too much trouble. So why can't we do it? Everybody's doing it. Let's start the fireworks. Stand back.